With a life-saving message. Marchers like these are about to hit the road.
It's the annual 50-mile march. Walkers going from the state capitol to La Vista, raising money to help veterans who are struggling.
Well, tonight, the story of one veteran who sees the march as a lifeline, even as he helps others. A warning, there is material in my report that may be sensitive and particularly troubling for some. Bill Reese likes to work out, to be physically fit, healthy and happy.
I was the type of person that would have a very nice smile on my face. I would laugh all the time.
But in 2019, depression started weighing him down, nearly killed him. You see, he almost took his life 3 times.
So my first suicide attempt, my girls were in their bedroom right next to me. I had a gun in my head and I broke down crying. My second attempt, my girls were not home, so I felt I had the opportunity to actually go through with it. I'd fired that firearm a million times. I knew how much pressure it took to pull that trigger. I got as close as you could get to pulling the trigger. But the thought came into my head, my girls would be the one that would find me, and it would, even though I wouldn't be around, it would crush me to know that if they ever walked in that house again, all I can think about is finding their dad, not alive anymore. And then my third and final attempt, my thought was that I'm going to the pedestrian bridge. I'm going to jump off of it. No one will find me. And then this way my girls don't now at least have to suffer with finding my body.
Reese says for some reason, he doesn't know why, he chose instead to drive home. His family and friends got him help into therapy.
That's where I learned that you don't have to struggle on your own, and that getting help and talking through these things is actually a sign of strength.
And there's strength in numbers. Like the numbers of people about to take part in the annual 50-mile march.
This year we'll be doing it with 150 people. That's double from last year.
Jay Morales, a founder of the march, says it's to empower veterans who are struggling with homelessness or mental health challenges.
The word empower is better than help. Helping is one thing, but empowering by giving resources, giving a hand up, not a hand out, and having buy-in from the veteran as well to hold their hand through the system.
The marchers help by getting sponsors, each raising $2,500 or more. This year's mission, to help buy land somewhere along Highway 370 to build a community of tiny houses for veterans. This is an early conceptual drawing that also brings in other nonprofits. That way, they'll not only get a home, they'll get job training, so they won't be a tax burden.
We're going to be contributors to society again, and there's dignity in that. I want veterans to see this and go, oh man, there's hope. Maybe I can talk about my issue, because there's a lot of people who are functioning, Rob, at half capacity right now. When they get help, or they get counseling, or they get some training, or they feel worthy, life can improve.
It certainly did for Bill Reese. He'll be making that 50-mile march just as he has in other years.
It is the best way for us to kind of simulate how it feels to be in a veteran's shoes that's either struggling with homelessness or mental health, you know, those types of things. And that is the greatest way that you can simulate it, is putting yourself in that type of pain for 22 hours.
Reese is a veteran himself, U.S. Army, a paratrooper in the 82nd Airborne. And while he doesn't think his stressors are service-related, it really doesn't matter.
The reason I do it is because I want to help others.
And in helping others, he helps himself.
I think for me it's very therapeutic to talk about it, kind of just relive everything and think about, you know, where I was at the darkest time in my life and where I'm at today, and how I'm so much happier today, and that I never have those thoughts anymore.
And this year's 50-mile march is next weekend, August 24th and 25th. Begins on the steps of the state capitol. Will end Sunday afternoon at Nebraska Brewing Company Tap Room just south of 108th and Harrison. Again, anyone who may be feeling thoughts of suicide or mental health crisis, please call 988. You can do that confidentially.